As a rideshare driver, whether driving for Uber or Lyft, there is one aspect in rideshare that all of us drivers have in common. We all deal with strangers every day on every single trip, and there is always the possibility that the passenger in your vehicle may leave something of value behind in your ride. Nevertheless, today we're going to tackle the question of what do you do when the item left behind leaves you at risk for temptation to keep it in your possession? Check this out.
Is there anything more frustrating than leaving your phone or purse in an Uber?
How about $200,000 of illegal drugs? According to court documents, that's exactly what Gabriel Zapata did on May 3rd. After scheduling a round-trip between Norfolk and Chesapeake, he realized he'd left his precious cargo in the rideshare vehicle. He attempted to contact the driver, offering to pay $1,000 to them to return the brown paper bag. Unfortunately for him, the driver had already contacted Norfolk police.
And that's when officers discovered more than 4.5 pounds of methamphetamine left in the back seat. Police arrested Zapata at a hotel in Hampton May 9th. In his room, officers say they found more meth, marijuana, and a gun. He is charged with possession with intent to distribute and is behind bars without bond.
Wow, 4.5 pounds of product on your back seat, worth a total of $200,000. As the late rapper Tupac may have once said, I am not a dealer, but don't push me. Okay, maybe he said killer, but you certainly get the damn point. So what do you do when you turn around after earning 80 or 90 cents per mile and you're looking at the white version of $200,000? Just want to find out from you folks. I understand there's a hell of a lot of honest drivers out there. Yours truly is included. But nevertheless, we get paid a very low rate per mile to usher passengers from point A to point B. $200,000 on the back seat speaks volumes. I understand that is a huge felony. We're talking about mama, I ain't never coming home kind of time. Nevertheless, that's $200,000 laying on your back seat. What the hell would you do? Obviously, if you decide to do something nefarious, you need to get out of town like Russell Simmons, because that is the type of product that leads someone to want to take your life. In this case, the passenger tried to contact the driver, offered him $1,000 reward to return the product. In this case, the driver had already contacted authorities, so it probably turned into some sort of a sting operation. You hear the article or hear the news media say that they found this individual at a hotel, had more product on him and firearms. So the individual in this case is going to go away for a hell of a lot of time. Nevertheless, there is no way to know if that was his product. If he left behind $200K worth of product, and he was moving this around for someone else, let's say, for instance, he's a drug mule, using an Uber to carry this from point A to point B for someone else, you as a driver that decided to quote-unquote snitch may find yourself being contacted by the owner of that product and being advised you are now officially $200K in debt to the street. So what the hell do you do in a case like this? Would you continue driving in the same area, the same market, knowing that someone else out there could potentially be trying to recoup a loss of $200,000 and looking for the rideshare driver that is responsible for their product falling in the hands of law enforcement? Perhaps that passenger has family and friends out there that now consider you an op and want your hide. So we have to ask the question, would you consider giving up the profession, giving up ride sharing in general, certainly in that market, because of what you may encounter? It is not uncommon for dealers of narcotics, large amounts like in this case, to give their product to some lower level dealer. And when that dealer is caught by police, they hold that smaller dealer accountable for the loss of product. In this case, the only reason that product is in the hands of law enforcement is because the Uber driver made a call to authorities. So he certainly could be on the hook if someone else owned that product and gets their hands on this driver. And there is a possibility that you could find out who it is because there's going to be court records. There's going to be, when this individual goes to court, when they're trying to, literally prosecute him for the amount of meth and amphetamine he had on him, it's going to probably say in the court records how they obtained the product. Hopefully they don't put down the damn Uber driver's name that made the phone call to police. But I just want to point that out, that it is possible that you could find out who this Uber driver is that made the call to authorities. And also, let's just be honest. Law enforcement can be bought off. It's not like you can't find an officer in the Norfolk, Virginia Police Department where this happened that you could potentially pay off to go find out who the hell made the phone call to police. We're talking $200K of product. So there's clearly somebody that has a hell of a lot of money that is dealing with this. Do you think it stopped at the individual that was in the Uber that has been arrested? You think everything pretty much was his product and there's no one else taking an L that is pissed off? Yours truly, I kind of wonder about that. Nevertheless, I'm not out in the streets unless I'm ushering passengers around. But I am from the south side of Chicago, and if I got my hands on $200,000 worth of product, even if only for a second, it would make me wonder, do I know anybody that might give me 10%, to get this shit off my hands? I mean, I understand you want to stay on the side of the law. So do I. Probably would have handed it over to authorities at the end of the day. But you're talking $200K of product that you could easily get rid of on the street if you could find anyone you knew that was somewhat trustworthy for a very small amount. 10K, 20K, you're handing this off to a dealer for 10K, 20K. They would gladly pay 10K for 200K worth of product. That's a hell of a tip on your 80 cents per mile trip. So even without being from the criminal element, without having a background in narcotics, I gotta admit, this shit is really tempting. But is it just yours truly that would suggest this is tempting? I want to know from my veteran drivers out there. And by the way, has anybody ever left something in your vehicle that you either gave back to them or really had a second thought about maybe maintaining that in your possession? Because people do leave shit in our vehicles all the time. Real quick story. I had a college student leave a pair of designer sunglasses on the back seat in this very vehicle here. Now, I have no use for female designer sunglasses. I'm certainly not trying to get in the market of selling them or putting them on eBay. So I certainly wanted to return the item. I received a phone call from the passenger, and turns out the passenger went to a university that's about 30 miles from me. Really pleaded, could you please turn these, could you please get them back to me or whatever. I made the trip. I didn't get a tip. It'll never happen again. So I want to find out from you in regards to valuables left in your vehicle. And at the end of the day, how does it work with returning it? I should have demanded a tip. Young college girl, early 20s or whatever the case may be. I understand folks in college are struggling financially, but it literally cost yours truly fuel to make the trip, not to mention probably an hour or two of my time driving 30 miles and back in traffic and stuff like that to return the glasses to the passenger that left them in my vehicle. So what are your experiences with passengers leaving shit in your vehicle? And last but not least, you turn around and you see 200K worth of smack on your seat, what the hell would you do? As always, it's your boy Tim. Subscribe to the damn channel, and I'll see you in the next video.